You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have
Greetings. My name is Steve Muhammad. I'm with Knowledge for Life, and we are honored to be here in Richmond, Virginia, with the student representative of the Honorable Farrakhan, Minister Tracy Muhammad. Greetings.
Well, thank you for coming.
So thank you.
Hopefully your stay here has been warm and welcome. I came down in 1997, having been sent by our regional minister at that time, Brother to come over and take over the post as the student minister for Minister Farrakhan here. So my stay here has been one where the community has embraced me, and I thank them for their support and embracing me over the past 15 years, myself and my family. Richmond is a very unique city.
Okay.
And I remember years ago, upon leaving Chicago, having been at the dinner table of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and upon leaving, he greeted me and said, you know, there's some very strong people in Richmond. And I stood there and thought about what he was saying, and I could bear witness. You know, it's a very unique, we have to remember that Richmond at one time was the seat of the Confederacy.
Yes.
So it's a very unique group of black people here that have seen the best and the worst of slavery, Jim Crow, but it's a very unique city in the South, Mid-Atlantic, I should say. It's not the Deep South, of course, but it's a very strong community, and one that if you come in and you're genuine and you're sincere and you're willing to work on their behalf, they will embrace you, and I have to bear witness to that. I really enjoyed my stay here.
Now you all have this beautiful facility. When did you all move into here?
We moved here in 2005.
Okay.
We were at a storefront for several years on the north side. This is south side of Richmond. This is what is called south of the James River.
Okay.
But at that time we were on the north side, on Brooklyn Park Boulevard, in a storefront that we were paying about $1,000 a month for, renting, of course. That was not representative of the beauty and the majesty of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. And before that, we were at a place called Deneen Street, which was a little 25 by 30 square foot building.
Yes.
That if you opened the door, you could see straight to the.
You'll bump into
But the history is such that they said that you know everything that becomes great, inshallah, has humble beginnings.
Right.
So it was a struggle to get here, and it's been a struggle since we've been here, to be totally honest with you. But we're determined as a group to pay this building off in the next 4 to 5 years, and to continue to serve the community at large here in Richmond, Petersburg, Hopewell, and the various black communities around Richmond.
Right. And you know, we continue to get that picture of Noah and the ark.
Yes.
And how you know the ark wasn't necessarily the best ship.
Right. Rusty planks.
It was the only ship.
That's right.
That could get us across troubled waters. What are some of the challenges that Richmond as a community, as a city, faces that the Nation of Islam here addresses?
Well, we have had at various times a food program where we've attempted to feed some of our brothers and sisters who are homeless, indigent. Every year we have a clothing drive where the sisters primarily will ask the sisterhood as well as the brothers to bring the coats, the shoes, the gloves, the pants, the shirts, the dresses that we may not feel inclined to wear anymore, but would most definitely serve someone else very well.
For those who might be watching who are in the city, where can they bring those supplies?
They can come right here to 104 Cowardin Avenue. We're here every Sunday from 11 to 2. Monday nights from 7:30 to 9:30, Wednesday and Friday as well. And on Saturday mornings, or I can be reached at 804-218-0101. You can call me, that's my direct number, that's my cell phone, that's the bat line.
Right.
You don't have to go through any channels, and I'm here to serve.
Beautiful. Now the minister is focusing on economic development and, of course, purchasing land. Can you help those who may be wondering, what direction the minister is going with? Why is it so important that he is focusing on economic development and the purchasing of land?
We've always, the program of the Oblige has always been an economic program.
Right.
Do for self, pull your resources, buy and trade and sell with your own first, of course. The minister, being the spiritual guide for the nation in specific and America in general, has been preaching very strongly recently about the troubled times that America is not approaching but has entered into.
Right.
Land is the foundation for everything. Any talk of economic development, before you can get to factories and industry and trade and commerce, you've got to have some land. Because at the end of the day and at the beginning of the morning, you've got to eat.
Right.
So any talk of economic development, trade and commerce, we have got to own some land. If you look at Black America, we are almost landless. When you think about the 40 to 50 million of us in America who are a nation within a nation, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but as a people in general, we're pretty much maybe almost landless. There are a few, who own a few acres here, a few acres there. At present, the Nation of Islam does have farmland in Georgia, and also in Michigan, but that's not enough. And the minister wants us to go after, to pool our resources this come Saviours Day, and he wants to go out and purchase more land. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructed him at a certain point to think for the whole. And to think for the whole means you can't just think for the members of the Nation of Islam, because the Nation of Islam is all 4,400,000,000 inhabitants on our planet. But at the least, you have to think for the 40 to 50 million of us here in America. So he used a mathematical equation. If each one of us ate 3 meals a day, and we had to have one slice of bread at that time, how much farmland would it take to grow the necessary wheat or bread so that each meal we would have a slice of bread? It's a mathematical calculation, exactly. So the land that we do have is good, but it's not good enough. And our people may not understand or see the whole vision right now. But as we continue to enter into this dark time and that day of want, not just spiritually, but physically, the famine and the pestilence that both Bible and Quran talk about, as that intensifies, our people will be the beneficiaries of the vision that God has given to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
There's two recent articles that one, I interviewed some Black farmers because, they've been pursuing lawsuits against the USDA because of them giving them loans, but giving them loans after the season has already passed to be able to grow a healthy crop, or just not giving them the loans at all, which then in turn they have to sell their land. But then there's the other issue where we have the drought, and many people don't realize that in 2013, they're already saying that there's going to be an increase in the price of food, and if they go to war with Iran, then the price of food is going to be horrendous for people to be able to survive. So I think the minister having this foresight, this insight and foresight is very important.
Most of our people, and I say this with all humility and love, most of our people do not see beyond their immediate circumstances. And for those who read the scriptures, who study the scriptures, America, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, the hand of America, the hand of God rather, is firmly placed against America. And the calamities, the drought, the famine, the severe weather, all of these things have been prophesied. So Minister Farrakhan, in the prophetic role of a Joseph, who was given charge over the grain house, has the love and the compassion to do for our people, in some cases, that which they're not even willing to do for themselves.
Right.
So we're very blessed to have a man chosen by God, you know, who thinks for the whole.
Right, right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about Saviours Day and what that represents?
Saviours Day, I know for me, represents that annual pilgrimage to our sacred house. And after a year, you also kind of get your spirit renewed, your battery recharged. It's always a blessing to see all the other brothers and sisters from the different mosques throughout America, England, you know, Great Britain, Africa, and wherever our ministry is being carried on. So it's wonderful, the energy, to see the minister, the executive staff, children, and one thing about Saviours Day, I always tell the new converts, it's like heaven on earth, where all you hear is us thank you, it's good to see you, brothers and sisters hugging and crying, and just enjoying the brotherhood and the sisterhood.
A number of workshops that deal with issues.
Sure, the workshops are always very informative. You never leave not knowing more than you knew before you came. And of course, the crowning event, which is the Saviours Day, is really the crowning event of Black History Month.
Right.
And to say the least, to hear the minister give the keynote address each and every year, you go back energized and ready to go back to work towards the resurrection and upliftment of our people.
Right. And this event is also open to the public, and we know that when people go to Saviours Day, they walk away, as you say, not just the believers, but those who may have had a skewed view or understanding of the minister, hearing it come out of his mouth, they get a better understanding of not just the minister, but of his heart and of world events. You know,
he's the most, well, in my opinion, the most loving human being I've ever met.
And you've sat at his table.
I've sat at his table. I've sat knee to knee with him when I was sitting. And the atmosphere, the aura, the energy, the spirit of God is so prevalent when you are in his presence.
You can just feel the aura.
You can feel it, and you don't even have to be this close if you ever come in close proximity. Maybe in the room, maybe a few feet away. It's obvious that this man is a man of God.
That magnetic attraction just fills the room. You know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, in closing out, is there any lasting words that you would like to say, either to the community as a whole or just to Richmond to come and visit the
Of course, there's always an open invitation to our brothers and sisters here in Richmond and surrounding communities. I would say, I would caution us that we're living in very perilous times. And I would humbly suggest that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is that voice, is that light, is sounding the clarion call for us as a community to join on to our own, to come and to walk with, to hear and to listen. The one whom God has anointed for us as a people at this time. Minister Farrakhan is not self-anointed. He is a man that I believe, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, that has been divinely inspired, a man that that we have called the longing and suffering of our people, have called him into existence. I believe with every fiber of my being that he is in the scriptures of God, both Bible and Quran, as his father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is. And whether you are Muslim, Christian, Jew, agnostic, or whatever, you can benefit from the wisdom and the guidance coming from the mind and the heart of God coming through this man. So I would encourage our people, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, don't walk, fly to Allah.
That's
come.
Right.
The time that we're living in is very dangerous.
Yes, yes, it is very dangerous, and your words are heartfelt because, you know, we're after literally, you know, saving our people, you know, not just on a spiritual level, but physically, this is a way out, you know, a way out. Well, Mr. Tracy, I want to really thank you for giving us these few words and,
nice meeting.
And this impromptu meeting.
Yes,
but I, you know, felt the spirit from the answers that you gave, and all praise due to Allah. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All right. And we're going to wrap this up. And once again, we are here in the beautiful mosque, Mosque number 24 in Richmond, Virginia. We've just interviewed Minister Tracy Muhammad, and we encourage you to visit Mosque number 24 whenever you're in Richmond, or if you live in Richmond. Don't hesitate to visit your mosque. Assalamu alaikum.
You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have